Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by the Family Forest Carbon Program, where we help family forest owners get paid to improve the health of their woods. Well, the USDA increased old crop corn exports by 50 million bushels, lowering ending stocks for both old crop and new crop corn as a result, part of the World Ag Supply and Demand Estimate Report Thursday at midday. Now, on the corn side, USDA lowered the old crop ending stocks by 50 million bushels, which flowed through the 25-26 crop numbers, lowering new crop ending stocks by 50 million bushels to 1.75 billion bushels. Now, USDA forecast the 25-26 corn crop at 15.82 billion bushels. That's based on yield forecast of 181 bushels per acre. The planted acres remain projected at 95.3 million acres, and harvested acres are projected at 87.4 million. On the demand side, the forecast for the 25-26 corn crop projects total feed and residual use at 5.9 billion bushels. Ethanol use is pegged at 5.5 billion bushels, and total domestic use is forecast at 12.785 billion bushels. Globally, for the 24-25 crop, Brazil's production was held pat at 130 million metric tons, while exports were pegged at 43 million metric tons, the same as May. Argentina's production was maintained at 50 million metric tons, but exports were lowered to 34.5 million metric tons. For soybeans, USDA left the U.S. soybean production and usage estimates unchanged for the 25-26 crop year. Production at 4.34 billion bushels is forecast using a planted acreage of 83.5 million acres and a national average yield of 52.5 bushels per acre. For use, USDA sees crush totaling 2.49 billion bushels, exports at 1.815 billion bushels, seed at 73 million, and residual at 37 million bushels. And the national average farm gate price for soybeans at $10.25. All domestic estimates for old crop 24-25 season were also unchanged. USDA forecast Brazil's 25-26 crop was left unchanged at 175 million metric tons. Argentina's production estimate was unchanged as well at 48.5 million metric tons, and forecast for the 24-25 season were also left, yes, you got it, unchanged at 169 million metric tons and 49 million metric tons, respectively. USDA estimates U.S. wheat exports for 24-25 crop at 820 million bushels, above the May estimate of 800 million bushels. USDA's domestic estimate of 1.921 billion bushels in new crop production was unchanged from the May report, and USDA estimated the average yield at 51.6 bushels per acre, also unchanged from May. Now, the U.S. farm gate price was pegged at $5.40, an increase from the $5.30 that we saw in May. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Dry weather to finish the week here in Ohio. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update for you for your Ohio Ag Weather Update. I'm not looking at anything here for Friday. Clouds are going to be on the increase for sure. There's some moisture trying to push into the Ohio Valley off to the southwest, but it doesn't make its presence known here until, I think, the overnight tonight. Scattered showers will work in overnight, and they will stay through tomorrow. And I actually think we're going to be seeing lingering moisture over at least half the state on Sunday. Right now, pencil it in for the entire weekend. I'm going to say 1/2 to 1.5 inches with coverage at 100% of the Buckeye State. We'll take a little bit of a break as we get started for next week. Monday, I think, is going to be dry. Overnight Monday night into Tuesday, some hit and miss, scattered showers. Better action developing Wednesday night through Thursday, where we can see some strong thunderstorms. And then we are going to see another round of hit and miss, a thunderstorm action Friday night into early Saturday. Behind that, I am looking at a longer-term hot and dry pattern trying to emerge over the country as our heat dome tries to build in the Great Plains and into the Missouri Valley or Mississippi Valley, and that should give us a much drier and hotter finish to the month of June. starting the week of the 23rd. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Let's check in with Brianna Smith with an update on Unleaded 88.
As more gas stations across Ohio add Unleaded 88 to their fuel lineup, drivers are starting to ask questions, especially as summer travel ramps up. The higher ethanol blend is often sold at a lower price than regular unleaded, but can it be used in most vehicles? Tad Nicholson with Ohio Cornell Wheat breaks down what drivers need to know.
Every car that has been made since 2001, it's 2001, I mean 96% of all the cars on the road today are all compatible with Unleaded 88. A lot of people don't know that because they didn't really go in and they didn't want to study it. So we made it kind of easy. We created a website called Save with 88. And it gives all the information you need to know about compatibility. But the answer is, if it's made since 2001, which is probably the bulk of the people that you and I know, then those vehicles can save. They can save dollars by choosing that blue handle.
Thanks, Tad. Is Unleaded 88 available at every gas station?
No, this is what we're trying to solve with this federal fix. You hear us talking a lot about needing to change a law in the federal government. It's in the Clean Air Act that allows us a waiver to sell E10, but not E15 during this summer driving season. It's old, it's antiquated regulations that just needs to be fixed. Doesn't cost anything. And we've really been trying hard to get a coalition of people together to help fix that federal fix. Once that's done, then retailers will have the confidence that I don't have to stop selling it in the summer. So if I want to make it part of my business plan, I'm going to do that. And we know that they have retailers out there that are saying, once this is fixed, we're ready to come in. GetGo is the brand for Giant Eagle stores. The GetGo is said, we're just waiting, just get this thing finalized once and for all, and we're ready to come in. We've seen UDF do the same thing. They were putting it in and stopped once we had this regulation change back. It was lots of different reasons why, but if we could fix that one thing, I think we're going to have a lot more retailers. I know we're going to have a lot more retailers choose to offer it to more Ohioans.
And if someone wanted to fuel up on Unleaded 88 today, where should they go? How do they know which gas stations carry it?
And one of the things that we get asked a lot is about where can I find Unleaded 88? And we kind of made that easy. There's an app, and you can get access to it at Save with 88, our website, savewith88.com. But it goes to Gas Buddy, and it's an app you can get right on your phone today. We don't have any affiliation with them. We're not partners with them. We don't gain anything. But Gas Buddy does a great job of identifying where the closest Unleaded 88 station is. It's what I use when I'm looking for it when I'm not in my home area. And so it's a great way for anyone to figure out, answer that question. Where can I find Unleaded 88?
Excellent. Well, I will definitely be looking for the Unleaded 88 label at the pump. Thank you, Tad, for joining me. Reporting for Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet, I'm Brianna Smith.
And thanks, Brianna. The National Pork Producers Council President Dwayne Statler of Macomb, Ohio, released a statement on the inclusion of National Pork Producers Council's animal health priorities in the Senate Ag Committee's reconciliation package. America's 60,000-plus pork producers thank Chairman Bozeman for fighting to include vital animal health legislation in the reconciliation legislation. During these times of wild uncertainty, we strongly urge the Senate to keep these provisions in the final bill. Specifically, the bill preserves necessary resources to protect the nation's food supply through foreign animal disease prevention. The National Pork Producers Council will continue to keep pressure on Congress to pass a 5-year farm bill, which includes a fix to California Proposition 12. Back with more after this.
Whether you're in the fields or on the farm, creating a safer work environment has never been easier. BWC's safety consulting services are included with your policy premiums and offer training and education for everyone in your farming operation. It's always the right time to make safety a priority. Visit bwc.ohio.gov or call 1-800-644-6292. The Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, here to help you work safely.
Soybeans are making waves in aquaculture. As a top protein source for fish farming, soy meal is essential for producing sustainable, farm-raised fish. With fish farming as the fastest growing food sector, soybeans meet the demand for eco-friendly, nutritious options. From soybean fields to fish farms, soybeans power the farms that feed families. Brought to you by the Ohio soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Congressman Troy Balderson, the chairman of the House Energy Action Team, joined Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin as they announced the repeal of two unconstitutional Biden-Harris policies that sought to crush America's coal and gas industries and advance a radical climate agenda. The rules, known as the Clean Power Plan 2.0 and the 2024 Mercury and Air Toxics Standards, target the power plants that are primarily responsible for America's reliable baseload energy generation. Without intervention, these regulations threaten to destabilize the electric grid. Under the Biden-led EPA, we witnessed an unprecedented assault on our electric grid and our ability to meet surging power demands, said Balderson. The Clean Power Plan 2.0 mandates unproven technology and imposes unachievable emissions limits on an unworkable time frame, violating both the Clean Air Act and Supreme Court ruling. The Biden-era rules threaten grid reliability, undermine America's energy and national security, and would have raised costs for consumers. I'm grateful Administrator Zeldin and the Trump administration are delivering on their promises, restoring American energy dominance and putting American families first. Affordable, reliable electricity is the key to American dream and a natural byproduct of national energy dominance, said EPA Administrator Zeldin. Balderson led 164 of his House colleagues last Congress in introducing a Congressional Review Act resolution to block the Clean Power Plan 2.0 from taking effect. Earlier this year, Balderson introduced legislation to nullify the rule. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For bean marketing information to LDC, call 574-566-2113. With our analysis, here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed yesterday, but it sure felt lower overall. Reason? We saw some basis implosion in the marketplace as we finished up the Wednesday session and went into yesterday, and it led to more. Let's start with basis right now. As we take a look at just basis on soybeans across a large part of the country, from the west to the east, I see a lot of red on my screen as basis dropped in western plants to anywhere from 5 to 30 cents, 35 cents. In the east, 25 to 50 cents down on basis on soybeans. We're not seeing the same kind of basis moves on corn right now, but the market was just generally wondering yesterday, what the heck is going on? In the midst of all of that, we had the USDA supply and demand report. That report, honestly, was a nothing burger, snooze fest. I assumed it probably would be. As expected, we did see an increase in corn exports, but it was a modest 50 million bushels, and there was no other decrease to ethanol production or anything else. So the increase in exports lowered old crop carryout by 50 million bushels, and we saw new crop carryout dropped by 50 million bushels. So there was nothing really surprising here, nothing that upset the apple cart or changed the goalpost. We knew there wouldn't be any significant change to yield or acres or anything like that. The acres numbers will get adjusted here at the end of this month. So the futures did basically nothing. There was a time, though, that we saw bean futures get whacked pretty hard. From the August forward, we came back up, only about a penny down on September, 2 cents down on new crop. What I think that we continued to see yesterday was a spread reeling in based on the basis moves that were out there. I think we saw the spread come in dramatically. The NQ, the July-August, the July-September, the July-November, and the July-January spreads all contracted monumentally. Did not see that same kind of action in the corn. Still some pretty decent carries out there on corn. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Overnight, December corn up 2 1/4 at 4.42 3/4. November beans up 5 1/4 at 10.32 1/2. July wheat up 5 3/4 at 5.32 1/4 cent. June cattle closed up 37 earlier in the day at 228.20. June lean hogs $103.65, up 27. September feeder cattle down 25 cents, but at $310.55. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.